Marhaba, and welcome to the Matrix Green Pill, where real people connect.
Hello, and welcome back to the Matrix Green Pill podcast. My name is Namita Thakkar, and today I'm joined by a very interesting guest. Nutrition and well being play a very important role in keeping our minds and body healthy, and in the recent years, the conversation around this subject has become even more prominent. Our guest today, the lovely Sara Babar, has combined her passion and knowledge for food and well being to start up a coaching and consultancy practice. Besides that, Sara is a public speaker, a spinning instructor, and a restaurant consultant passionate about helping individuals feel their best through sustainable food and lifestyle changes. Sara, welcome and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Same here. So, Sara, some of our listeners may already know your story, but could you please tell us a little bit about yourself, your background?
Well, I actually stumbled upon this career after about 10 years, I would say, in the food and beverage industry. Health and wellness was always a very personal topic of mine. I'm still on my own personal journey right now through my own well-being, weight loss journey. And when I started going to nutrition school and picking up on things to help guide me better in the choices I made and the lifestyle choices I made, I somehow turned that into a career just by sheer wanting to help people find and discover their own journey as well, or help them along their journey.
Thanks for sharing that. So, we'd like to know about how you got into the whole holistic wellness coaching. Was this something you always had in the back of your mind, or it was some experience or situation in life that made you interested in this whole subject?
I think for me, food has always been the center of everything that I've done, whether it was through my corporate job, which I was a food development specialist, a fresh food operations manager. I worked in cafes, restaurants, behind the scenes, up front. More so than anything, for me, food is a very sacred thing. And I learned through my experience that we sometimes shy away from food when we think about health and wellness and weight loss, our overall well-being, whereas food is almost like a medicine. Food, it cures everything, and it's just my approach towards nutrition. I always had that somewhere in the back of my mind, but never, if you had asked me in the last couple of years, would I've seen myself be coaching? Absolutely not. But more so now, I think it is beyond important. This whole concept of mind, body, soul, really understanding that our well-being is so many elements of our life that are all intertwined and that every single thing is interconnected and leads to a more healthier, happier life. That understanding obviously came about, and that's when I started this coaching practice.
Very interesting, and so many points that sense to me, and I'm sure to our audience as well. You mentioned that you believe that to be healthy and live more fulfilling lives, people need to do what they can to send the right messages to their bodies to optimize the body's function. Can you just tell us more about what do you mean by that?
I think for me personally, throughout my weight loss journey, I had discovered that I had a lot of hormonal imbalances. And again, we think of medication and what foods not to eat instead of what are the right foods to eat and what else is important. And through coaching and being in nutrition school and doing my hormone health certification, I realized that sleep is one of the major key factors in our wellness, in balancing our hormones, essentially. And so for me, when I speak about sending that message to your body, it's we have to take care of our bodies, the way they function, our hormones. If I'm going to go back to hormone health, we always speak about balancing hormones. How do we achieve that balance is by bringing about a balance in our lifestyle, bringing about structure in our life. So it's the times we eat, the times we sleep, how much rest we're getting, how active are we, our movement. So our body needs to understand all of these things. And these are the kind of messages that we want to be able to send our body is that, we are taking care of our nervous system. We're taking care of our internal organs. We are taking care of our skin, our just everything as a whole. And if there's one thing I always speak to my clients about, it's the fact that we get a new item of either clothing or a new car or anything, and we take such good care of it. But our bodies, which is essentially our home, we somehow start to neglect certain elements of it. And that's when we don't optimally feel our best.
Very well said, Sarah. I completely agree. Now, we all know that diet and exercise go hand in hand when it comes to well being or taking care of your body. What do you have to say about it? How does diet and exercise impact each other?
I think it's very important to understand our bodies. Again, if I'm being very honest, I, over the last possibly 3 years, have gone through an extreme weight loss journey, and I am still on that weight loss journey. And from what I have gathered is that sometimes out of desperation, we start so strong. I'm going to train now that the new year's coming up. Everybody's going to sign up to these memberships and I'm going to train 6 days a week. And then I'm not going to eat this. I'm not going to do that. And that's it. It's almost like cutting everything out and going so strong that we are gearing ourselves to just burn out at some point. So when diet and exercise, and more so than exercise, I like to speak about movement. Because if we are only active an hour a day, if you are going to do rigorous exercise for about an hour and a half a day, but then the rest of the day we are completely stagnant, we're not really doing much good to our bodies. Our bodies are designed to move, designed to get steps in, walk and stretch. All of these things are very important. When we understand taking an individual, and everything which I'm going to speak about is all gathered towards an individual. That is what I believe in my practice as well, that we are all designed as singular people. We all have our things that suit us, things that don't suit us, times that suit us. Finding that right balance of what nutrition you need, what kind of nutrition you need, what kind of movement you need, and then how to slowly build upon that. I think that is key, but definitely eating well, movement, sleep. I think if I was to pin down, it's these three elements that work in harmony together.
Well said. So, we all know that, there is certain time where you need to schedule workouts, fitness activities, or have dinner by this time. And I think currently people are going so crazy with fad diets and stuff like that. Everything, yeah, keto is trending. And there's so many new concepts that have come into the picture. What do you think about that, firstly? And secondly, what is like the best time to schedule workouts and like your food timings? Is there some kind of a cap that needs to be maintained between the two? What do you have to say about that?
I love how you just touched upon fad diets, because that is, again, how I feel that I was gaining and losing weight, because anything new, I would just try it out. That sheer desperation, we as human beings will do anything, we'll take any information if we're told that this will help us. If I can just backtrack, I don't know if I'd said this, but this is a massive reason of, again, why I became a coach, because I remember being young and looking at every direction for somebody to give me an answer, what is going to help me? What do I need to do? And I'll do anything. I will pay any membership money. I won't travel. I won't buy what I want, but I will do whatever it takes, any protein shake, anything. Just tell me that magic pill almost that I need to get through. These fad diets, like you said, they're not sustainable. As a holistic health coach, I sit with my clients and we go through sustainable changes that make you feel good about yourself, eating habits that sit well with you, and again, that you can do long term. I have a lot of clients that are mothers. I work with families as well. And we look at ways that the whole family can sit together and enjoy nutritious meals, as opposed to each and every individual sitting around a table having different things because they are on some kind of different eating plan or diet. And I hate that word, to be very fair, this whole concept of diet or fad diets. Food is supposed to give us fuel, energy in order for us to move, energy in order for us to perform well during the day at our jobs or school. It is not kind of this negative aspect of our life that, we shy away from, that food is bad or this food is bad. Food is actual nutrition. We are lucky enough to be able to have food on our table, first of all. All of these fad diets, when you strip them down, there's no sustainability involved. We want to be able to really consume food, eat well, reach our personal goals, and then sustain them later on, not do a diet for a week, lose the weight, and then later just to go back onto that same diet. The part two of your question about timings, again, I personally believe that it is definitely catered towards individuals. Some of my clients have insane amount of energy in the mornings. Others are not morning people. They prefer to work out in the evening. Is taking your entire lifestyle and plugging in what suits you best. Perhaps you're going to work out in the evenings, but let's say in the mornings, you may get up and want to do kind of a mobility stretch, a 5-minute stretch, finding those small pockets inside your day where you can find time for movement.
Lovely. Thanks for such an insightful information, Sarah. And as you rightly said, I think currently in this day and age, people have labeled or have started associating food with a very negative expression. And that's so sad. I mean, like you rightly said, we've always believed that a positive environment at home is having a meal together. And suddenly today it's become like it's got this whole negative term attached to it.
Because that's what you want. That's what you ideally want is you want to come together around a table with food. You want to learn that process of, we always say that it's not what should I not have? It's what should I have more of? What is good for me? Again, the medication and vitamins and supplements are great. But if we're only going to be depending on outside sources and not our food in front of us to be giving us that nutrition, then there's something wrong with just the modern way or the modern thought process around food right now.
Absolutely, something we all need to think about for sure. So, having traveled and lived in different countries, Sarah, in what ways does food influence lifestyle culturally?
So much. I'm originally from Pakistan. I cannot believe that it took me up to my 20s to understand how blessed I truly was to travel back home and to be able to eat seasonally. Living in the Middle East, we are blessed with food or produce, especially available through us all through the year, where there is no kind of seasonal produce that we see in supermarkets. And I remember going back home, and if tomatoes are in season, if oranges are in season, that's what you're having. And then in the summers, certain fruits are available, certain vegetables are available. And my grandparents have always eaten so seasonally, and just you see their life and you see their lifestyle and the simplicity of life, the way they cook, the way they consume food, how they eat when the sun rises and eat less when the sun sets. It's such a beautiful way to watch the honoring of food, first of all, to live that whole simple nutrition concept, which is something that, again, is one of my brand pillars right now. So I think culturally, food affects us so much. I truly believe that when we travel, we should try to eat as locally and as seasonally as possible, because that is what is available in the freshest form. And also, a second part to that is that this is why I believe a lot in eating closer to your roots. I'm actually working on an article right now in which I detail how eating close to our ancestry helps our digestive system and how it helps our gut health, just our entire well-being. How we consume food, how we digest it is all related back to how our ancestors ate.
Wow, absolutely. What are some of the most important skills, Sarah, according to you, for a health and wellness coach to have?
I would say skills. One of the things through my practice that I have learned is definitely having that open mind that everybody that walks through that door is an individual. Having the patience to coach and guide somebody through a more better life for themselves, and constantly learning. I am every single day with each and every different client. I am constantly learning. New knowledge is coming my way, new ways to approach things, different foods, different combinations. There's so much out there that we learn, and it all is a product of bio-individuality. Every single person is different. As health coaches, when we understand that, identify that, and then have that passion to just keep going and that patience almost that, we will get to that point. You have a lot of clients that walk in that have autoimmune diseases, that have digestive problems, that have hormone problems. And sometimes there's no answer to that. But slow and steady, as you start stripping things down, as you start understanding things, we uncover that. I don't know if they're per se skills, but I think these are just some key components for every health and wellness coach to have.
What has been, Sarah, your proudest moment during your journey to holistic health so far?
My proudest moment, I think when you sit across from somebody and they understand it. You see, as a coach, we don't give you answers. We come to conclusions together, which is why I love this concept of being a coach, because we work together as a team, me and my client. I am giving my client the tools and the tricks and the knowledge for them to take these things and then implement them into their households, implement them within their family structure, in their life. And they are essentially the ones that are in control. They are the ones that are making these habit changes. They're the ones that are consistent. And when you are able to sit with somebody, and after, for instance, I do a 4-week program, on that last meetup we have on week 4, when they sit in front of me and they say, I did this and I made this choice, and it is beautiful to watch, because as a coach, my job is to empower you. My job is to support you, and then to see you make those changes in your life, because again, going back to that, if you are the one that is making those changes, if you are making those positive choices, you are setting yourself up for years of good habits. It's all in your control. It's not a diet plan that you're following. It's not a list of do's and don'ts that you're following. You are understanding what makes me feel good and what am I going to do for myself. So it's definitely watching clients, and when they understand, when it all kind of clicks, and when they've made those good choices on those bad days, I think everything is worth it.
Like they rightly say, it's all in the mind. So, yes, I'm sure it is. The next question I think most of us can relate to, Sara. If there is someone who's struggling with consistency, as it happens to most of us, what strategies would you use to help your clients stay on track?
Everybody always asks me that because I'm somebody that I wake up in the morning and I do post a lot on my social about just my morning routine and sometimes pressing pause and taking things in a much more simpler manner. And they always ask, how do you build those habits? And, how do you wake up that day every day? And one of the things is, it is very difficult to say that, you have the same routine every single day. This is life. Life throws us so many different curveballs. One day looks different. Another looks completely different. It's that, how do we adapt? How do we go on? How do we move forward? But when it comes to consistency, I focus a lot on habit building. And with my clients in week 1, we will always start with one small habit. Pick one thing that you can sustain for that week. Then we build on it until you start reaching your goals. Sometimes some habits, they don't work for you. So you look for something else. But it's always starting small and building on that. So for instance, say, if you are somebody that cannot do a workout in the morning, but you would still like to be active, it's waking up 10 minutes earlier than you usually do and doing a 10-minute stretch, doing a 10-minute yoga flow, something different. And slowly then building that up with an extra 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And then sticking to that will eventually come to consistency. But also, I think consistency is not going to be every day. Sometimes it's starting small. Like I said, again, with workouts, I personally, whenever I either take a holiday or a reset and I want to come back, I know for a fact I'll start with 3 days a week. And then I'll build up to my maximum and maybe 4 or 5 days a week. But always start small, build somewhere, and it will all slowly come together. It genuinely, like you said before, it is mindset. It's mind over matter. It's how much you want it, not just want external changes. I always say this to my clients again, that it's how you feel. Does this make you feel good? Does the food you eat, is the movement, is the company you keep around you, the work that you go to, does this sit well with you? Sit for a second. Just sit and think, do I feel good? We all have instincts. The gut is our second brain. We all have instincts. And if something feels good, then we know it. Even movement, even exercise, yes, there's that soreness that you feel, but it's that good. It's that feeling of strength, which we start getting almost used to, and we want to be more and more active. So it's always coming back to small habits, build them small, and always ask yourself, how does this make me feel? Because if it makes me feel good, I'll want to keep being consistent.
Wow, amazing. Small steps is the key. I agree. So now, Sara, we have come to the fun segment of our show. It's called Rapid Fire. It's our version of a game show. It's self-explanatory. I'm going to ask you 4 questions and you have to answer them rapidly. So whatever first comes to your mind. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Sara, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Favorite food quote, like a phrase or a quote?
Ooh, I would say, is it something, I don't know if it's right, but it's the Julia Child quote, always love, or I love people that love to eat, something like that.
Amazing. Okay. Favorite holiday destination?
I haven't been, but I'm dying to go to Bali. I cannot wait. I have seen just the beaches, the food, definitely.
Yeah, paradise indeed. Greatest inspiration and why?
I'm a very big homebody. And I was extremely close to my grandfather, extremely close to him. He has just shaped the human being that I am. And just the way he lived his life, marched to the beat of his own drum, and always looked at that silver lining. I think I get that from him. Even on like bad days, good days, I aspire to just that outlook, that beautiful outlook on life.
Amazing. Thank you, Sara. So before we wrap up, we would like to ask you about your green pill moment. So, Sara, what was your green pill moment? The action or event that was the turning point for you or your career?
as I had mentioned, I was in corporate for nearly 10 years and I loved my job. Genuinely, I had one of the best jobs. I was surrounded by food all the time, so I can't complain. I had one of the best jobs and it was amazing. And I had always wanted to do my own thing. A couple of years ago, I went ahead and I started doing my branding. While I was still working, I had booked on Squarespace. I had basically gotten my website name and I had put it there. And one day I was sitting at work and I got an email saying it had been a year since I had signed up and I had paid for 1 year of keeping my website domain. And that was the day where I decided or asked myself, well, what is the fear that is holding me back? Is it the fear of failure? Is it the fear of not wanting to go out and pursue my dreams? What is it that is holding me back? So that was my turning point. I remember a couple of weeks after that, that was it. I had resigned and that's it. I just full time went into my career right now, which is coaching and consultancy. For the first couple of months, I'm not going to lie, it was very difficult. There was no cushion. There was difficult. I was registering my company. It was very overwhelming, but there's a day I was walking by my parents' room and I heard my parents say to each other that I just seemed so much more happier. And to them, they could just feel that in the house I was happier. And that to me validated everything that I did, because if people around me could just see that I was so much more happier, comfortable pursuing my passion, no matter what, that was definitely a combination of that, I'm going to say, was my green pill moment.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Sara. Thank you for sharing your fantastic journey with us. And I'm sure our listeners are going to thoroughly enjoy this conversation as much as I have. But before we say goodbye, can you tell our listeners where they can find and follow you?
So I have my Instagram handle, which is Sara Babar. That's my full name. And I've also got a website on sarababar.com where you can reach out. I am always just posting content on a lot of simple nutrition, simple lifestyle changes. I really, truly believe in pressing that pause button from time to time. And if you ever have any coaching or consultancy, and I know people always say coaching and consultancy, but again, the pillar of everything is healthy food. And I have combined my passion for that into this career that I'm doing right now. So please go and check me out on my Instagram or my website. And if you have any questions, just send me a message. I'd love to get back to you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sara. Thanks again. And we wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much. I really appreciated it. And I really enjoyed being on here today.
If you enjoy our conversations, please like and subscribe. See you next Wednesday.